You look up at the night sky, and at first, it doesn't quite feel real. The stars are incredibly distant, ancient and vast. Thousands of tiny lights scattered across an endless darkness, many of them older than our species itself. It's easy to look at that expanse and feel completely insignificant. For centuries, we have inherited a worldview that amplifies this feeling of isolation. We naturally perceive ourselves as separate, lonely creatures, dropped randomly into a cold and indifferent environment. We draw a sharp boundary between our internal thoughts and the physical world outside of us. This alienation stems from a specific misunderstanding of where your identity ends and the universe begins. In 1632, a philosopher named Baruch Spinoza was born in Amsterdam. He lived during a period when Europe was deeply entrenched in religious conflict, and questioning the traditional structures of faith carried severe consequences. By the time he was 23, the religious authorities expelled him with the harshest excommunication decree in their community's history. He was erased from communal life entirely, forbidden from speaking to his peers, receiving their help, or even standing near them. His crime was asking questions that threatened the accepted structure of reality. He wondered if we are expressions made of the exact same material as the stars. Forced into exile, Spinoza earned a modest living grinding lenses for microscopes and telescopes. He spent the rest of his life working quietly in the background, dedicating himself to mapping out this interconnected physical reality. Spinoza dedicated his life to a radical project, the systematic dismantling of the isolated human ego. Most people in the 17th century understood existence in distinct layers. A divine creator existed in a tier above the universe. Human beings lived down at the bottom as independent souls, surrounded by a physical nature that operated like a machine built by that creator. Spinoza identified a strict logical flaw in this design. If a supreme being is truly infinite, it cannot exist completely outside of anything else. Creating a division implies a boundary, and boundaries imply limitations, which an infinite reality cannot have. He captured this exact conclusion in 3 words: Deus sive natura, God or nature. He argued that these terms describe the exact same unified substance. Because the universe and the divine are identical, there is no supernatural realm waiting outside the cosmos to pull strings or alter events. The physical laws of nature are the absolute, unbroken structure of reality itself. This logic extended straight into human biology. For generations, thinkers struggled to explain how an immaterial, floating soul could interact with a solid, physical body, treating them as totally disconnected entities. Spinoza resolved this by defining everything in the physical world as a temporary mode of one substance. Think of a cresting wave. It looks completely distinct for a moment before crashing and folding seamlessly back into the churning ocean. Individual humans, animals, trees, and entire galaxies operate the exact same way. We are simply finite, temporary patterns taking shape within that infinite ocean of reality. Imagine looking at a coin from 2 angles. One side appears different from the other, but both belong to the same object. Consciousness and physical matter function as 2 different ways of perceiving the same underlying substance. Mind and matter are entirely unified. Every thought in your head is a biological act of nature continuously unfolding. Imagine a stone flying through the air. If the stone were conscious, it might believe it was freely choosing to move forward, remaining unaware of the external forces determining its path. We feel free because we are aware of our internal desires, while remaining blind to the prior causes, our genetics, our childhood environment, and our historical era that strictly shape those desires. Every emotion you feel and physical action you take is the strict, necessary result of an infinite chain of causality stretching endlessly back in time. That chain of physical causality extends all the way into the sky. Every single atom comprising your blood and bones was forged inside cosmic furnaces billions of years ago. Trace the causes far enough, and you see yourself as the entire history of the universe unfolding in one specific, temporary form. Losing a personal God and absolute free will initially feels terrifying. It strips the human ego of its perceived importance. However, understanding the vast deterministic causes behind our behavior dissolves hatred. When you clearly see the environmental and psychological conditions driving human action, you replace reactionary anger with rational compassion. Spinoza urged people to view existence under the aspect of eternity. Instead of letting narrow, daily anxieties dictate your perspective, you mentally step back to watch individual lives operate within a vast, interconnected biological cycle. This shift creates what Spinoza called the intellectual love of God. It is the profound joy and awe experienced when your mind finally comprehends its total alignment with reality. True freedom resides in the conscious understanding of your inseparability from the laws of the universe. Centuries later, brilliant scientific minds found deep religious reverence in this framework. Albert Einstein rejected the concept of a personal creator, finding his awe instead in the mathematical harmony of the cosmos. Modern science consistently maps the interconnectedness Spinoza deduced through logic. Ecology proves organisms rely entirely on their environments. Neuroscience ties consciousness directly to physical chemistry, and quantum physics continually verifies reality's deep entanglement. The astrophysicist Carl Sagan noted that we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. The rigid boundary between the observer and the dark void they are staring into does not exist. A moment of wonder. For one brief moment in time, the universe arranged itself into you, the cosmos experiencing itself.